What are some of your worst experiences at the range? Me. Years ago. A gun shop that is in reality an old converted house. Shitty indoor range built into the basement. One of the firing lanes is actually bisected by the support beams for the building. I'm just there to test a handgun after doing some work. Wouldn't be there at all if it hadn't been raining for the last 3 days. Walk in. Couple already standing at the counter asking the owner about renting handguns. Owner has a prosthetic hand with a simple claw. He hands the Naga P226. She gets a Model 10. Owner has to fill out the rental paperwork and some kind of liability waiver for them. They spend the entire time muzzle sweeping the entire shop and repeatedly dry firing both firearms while pointing them at the owner. Owner finally gets sick of this and hooks his prosthetic claw through the trigger guard of the next revolver and yanks it out of her hand. Explains basics of gun safety as she stares out into the abyss. Owner hands it back. She walks off towards the range, dry firing the revolver while pointing it at the back of her nigger baby daddy's head. Owner asks if I'm there to shoot too. Silently turn around and walk out. If I'm ever at a gun range and I see a professional basketball player show up, I leave. Some selfish asshole shot himself at the range I used to go to a couple months ago. In Finland. Tieta. Trap shooting range. Old boomer Fudd trips and shoots himself in the foot. Filled a police report. That was about it. Fudd came back in 5 months. Ironically, one of the better members in terms of consistent score. Twin City Sportsman Club, just due to dox myself a little. Someone heroed on my range like 10 years ago. I went shooting with my dad, and as we were leaving, some guy came in and said he wanted to try and shoot a pistol. I thought he was weird, but like in an autistic way, not suicidal. He shot his brains out as we were getting into our car. I called Mom right away so that she doesn't get a heart attack when she hears about someone KYSing themselves on the day I went there. Lel. Some faggot decided to off himself at my local range with a rented Glock a couple of years back. The range now has a policy where they don't rent guns to people who come alone without their own gun. If these tards want to kill themselves, they should just buy a cheap shit stick shotgun at the store and kill themselves at home or in a secluded area. Not really a range story, but more about negligence. Cocksucker fat retard coworker sells AR-15 to dad. He paid like 600 or 700, I forget. Dad's kind of excited. He's never had an AR-15. His last gun was a lever 30-30 that came with his 80-something Dodge truck as a special edition deal. We take it home to shoot it in the backyard. We're setting up in the backyard, finger fucking it, and placing beer bottles. The first trigger pull it runs away and fires a 4-shot burst on single. My face went. We both are confused. Still haven't pointed downrange and pulled the trigger again. Nothing happens. Trigger is stuck rigid. Check bolt. It's forward. Cycle it. It was a live round, but something about the trigger wouldn't let it move as if the hammer was down, but also the trigger was seized. It does another retard burst of 3 rounds and does the same thing. About to hand it to my dad, going to put the safety on as I'm about to walk back and hand it to him. For no reason at all, I flipped the safety still facing the field. No idea where the bore was pointed, but it was in a generally safe direction. The gun fired. The moment I turned the safety to its detent, the gun fucking fired. Put another mag in it and replicate this 4 times. Every time the trigger would stick turning, the safety would drop the hammer. Find out their boss that the guy had been trying to rig full auto convert it with a Dremel. Dad takes it to a gunsmith and has him put a trigger kit in it weeks later. It's just that I could have possibly shot something or somebody because of this piece of shit, if I just fucked up and turned that safety on in the wrong direction. That shit spooked the fuck out of me.